Well, you better start believing it, because it's not the only example. Snerdley just said to me that he can't believe that for the last 30 years, advanced placement, foreign policy education in American universities has been teaching the U.S. was at fault for the Cuban Missile Crisis. I just read you the relevant passage in the textbook. 1985, JFK was blamed for goading the Soviets into arming Cuba because of the Bay of Pigs. And not just the Bay of Pigs, but JFK running around huffing and puffing and talking about U.S. military might and so forth, goaded the Soviets. Once again, the bad guys of the world were only made bad guys by virtue of U.S. policy or U.S. action. This is my point. I'm really doing a lousy job of making my point today here, folks. No, I think I'm making a bad job. I'm weaving around it, and I haven't hit the bullseye on it. Well, I've hit the bullseye, but I haven't. The idea that it's the United States the problem in the world, and that's not just a casual thing. I mean, it's a formative, central part of people's education for the last 30 years in elite universities. And those people who graduate end up populating elite institutions and thus end up corrupting them. I'm telling you that's why I'm not surprised when something like North Korea or whatever threatens this or that and hacks Sony, and Sony kowtows. The root of that is ultimately guilt and fear. Guilt that the North Koreans might be able to do something. Guilt that maybe we're to blame for it. No, we shouldn't have done the movie. I'm telling you, it's pervasive. It is what's guiding immigration policy. It's what's guiding every foreign policy that this administration's in charge of that is diminishing the United States. We are clearly a nation in decline, and we're being told our best days are behind us. Obama's telling us this. It's being taught. 92 million Americans are not working because they don't think there's any reason to. Best days are behind us. And so we're a nation in decline, and the way you get your stuff now is different than the old days. You worked for your stuff. Now you game the system or become part of the system. But the nation is in decline because the nation deserves to be in decline, because the nation has been fraught with injustice and immorality from the days of its founding. I know I say that, it rolls off my tongue like it's just natural syllables, but I'm telling you, I mean it with every fiber of my being. This is what more and more young people have been taught. The women's studies courses go even further than that. Let me find those stories in the stack. I mean, every day now. And by the way, the only reason we're learning this is because there are some really gangbuster young people doing conservative blogging and website building that are monitoring what's going on in the quote-unquote academy. The drive-by media would never tell us. There's some really campus reform. There's some really great people. They're all Rush babies doing this, by the way, and I don't mind admitting that. But they grew up with this program, and they are entering life as conservatives, and somehow they escape the corruption, and they're exposing the things that are being taught in the classroom that have been taught for 30 years that nobody's heard about, other than, little Johnny comes home from school, tells mom and dad what he's learning, and mom and dad, what are they going to do? They're not going to bitch about it because that'll make the university mad at little Johnny. Little Johnny might not get his A or B. So everybody shuts up and lets it happen and rolls the dice that little Johnny will turn out okay anyway. And they'll think, it's a one-off. When none of this is one-off. This is SOP. Who is Stalin? Right, Stalin killed 20. So what? That was then, this is now. The guy that wrote about Stalin got a Pulitzer Prize. Screw it. Stalin killed 20 million people. Mao killed 50 million people. So what? They did it for their people. You don't understand how corrupt this is. You don't understand. I don't really think you understand how deeply corrupt these young people are end up supporting murderous regimes on the basis that it was done for the people. No, there is evil. There is evil. The United States made all these people bad. The United States made Stalin. If we hadn't had designs on Cuba, if we hadn't opposed them, if we hadn't stood in their way, if we hadn't invented the CIA, the OSS, whatever, then Stalin wouldn't have killed the people. All of this, all of the problems in the world are traced back to the United States. If you doubt me, just open your eyes. Global warming, climate change, you take any issue that has become prominent in the Democrat Party or in the American left, and I guarantee you all of it, every one of those issues, you can trace it back. Its origins back to the United States is to blame. I give you the way the missile crisis in 62 is now being taught. JFK's fault, goaded the Soviets. Yeah, Khrushchev, then Brezhnev, they're minding their own business, and we come along and we start this big nuclear buildup with their scientists, by the way, scientists from Germany, scientists from East Germany. We stole their scientists. Those bombs should have been theirs in the first place, so we stole the scientists. And then their scientists come along and help us get to the moon first. We provoked them. Your question, there's no good and evil, I know what you mean. And in terms of the way it's being taught, yeah, there's no good and evil with us being the good guys. What is Iran? Iran is a fledgling nation doing what it can to keep up with aggressive enemies in the United States and Israel, wants to come up with nuclear capability to defend itself. And why shouldn't they? Because we have one. And who are we to say that? And you don't even have to have Obama for that. You can trace that one back to Ron Paul and the libertarians. You think Obama is seriously engaged with sanction talks to limit Iran from getting a nuke? Yesterday, I gave an outsized example. You wait when you're going to wake up one day and find out we sold them their first nuke. And I was joking and so forth to make a point. But there is no serious. It's made to look serious, but there's no attempt really to stop Iran. Do you think there is getting a nuclear weapon? Do you see any evidence of it? They don't even give it much lip service.